In this video, we'll be seeing how to send email from Android. We'll be using PHP APIs to send the email. Here you can see that I have created a folder and opened it inside an IDE. You can use any IDE. I'm using PHP Storm. Create a folder and let's create a PHP file. Let's name it index.php. So we have created a file index.php. Now we have to include PHP Mailer library to our project. For that, open this URL. I'll give the link for this PHP Mailer in the description, or you can simply search PHP Mailer in Google and you will get this library. So go to this library and you can scroll down. And here you can see composer require PHP Mailer, PHP Mailer. So copy this. Let's open the terminal. So you can see I have opened the terminal inside the same directory. So this is the directory of my project. So you have to move to the directory of your project. You can simply open a terminal and move to this folder. And then you can paste this command here. So you can see that we have added our PHP Mailer to the project. So let's minimize the terminal. And here you can see vendor folder. And we are also having composer.json. So inside that we are having require PHP Mailer. Okay, now we can require this autoload.php to our index.php file. So let's come inside the PHP file and open the PHP tag. And we can require the autoload.php file. So for that, require inside the vendor folder /autoload.php. Now you can go to the documentation, go to the GitHub page. So inside the GitHub page, you can scroll down and you can see the code. So let's scroll down and you can see this. So a simple example. So copy this code. So you can simply copy this code from here. So we are having the autoload.php requiring part here. So let's copy that. Copy this much and go to the code and we can paste it here. So you can remove this line and then paste it here because we are already having this line here. Okay. And here you can see this is the code to send email. So we are using the PHP Mailer class. So you can see that we are using these classes from the PHP Mailer library. Okay. And here we are creating an object. So if you want to understand this in detail, I already have done a video on PHP Mailer. So you can watch that. I will give the link for that in the description. So this is the code to send an email. So let's change the SMTP details here. So you simply have to change the host name and the username and the password here. And if you are using some other port than this, you can simply change that here. Okay. So these are the details that you have to collect from your mail provider. And after that, here you have to provide the email of the recipient. So we only need the send from and the to address, and we can remove the remaining part. Okay, and attachments, we are not going to send any attachments in this video. So I already have done a video on that, so we can watch that. Okay, and we can specify it as HTML. Okay, and the message part will be collecting that from the Android side. So we'll be changing that later. And you can see this is the send method. So come to the top and we have to receive the message and the to address from the Android part. So for that, if is set of $_post of, and we'll be receiving the to address. So let's give it to email and is set of post of message. Now we can collect the subject also. So let's check for the subject. Now you can open the if condition and close it at the bottom. So come here and close the if condition. Okay. So if we are having the email and the message and the subject, we'll be executing the code inside. So here you have to move this line to the top. So let's cut this from here and move it to the top. So we have pasted the code from here to here. Okay. And after that we are checking for the to email, message and the subject. Okay, let's remove the comment from here. And we can change the require option to the top. So let's add that here. Okay. So now we have to assign this to a variable. So let's come inside the if condition and $to email equal to, and we can copy this from here, $post of to email. Give a semicolon, and you have to do the same for the message and the status. So now we are having to email, message and the subject. So we can change the variables here. So you can see that from message. So the from address, we can change it to the from address that we are going to use. So let's change it to info@codesec.com. And you can change the name to codesec. So you have to change the from address here and then the to address. So the to address will be specified from the Android part, and we are getting that inside the variable $to email. Okay. And you can also specify the username. So for now we will not be specifying the username because we are not fetching the username. So you can see we are only fetching the to email address. So we can simply remove that for now. So simply remove this name option from here, and that's all. Okay. So we can remove the comment. Okay. So we are having the from address and the to address. Now the content section. So inside the content section, we have to give the subject here. So $subject. So you can see that we are fetching the subject from the Android part. And the next one is the body. So here we have to give the message. $message. And for now we haven't fetched anything for the alt body. So we can remove that. So for now we'll be removing the alt body. If you want to keep the alt body, we can pass that from the Android part and you can fetch it like this and you can give that here. Okay. So for now we are going to remove it. And then we are calling the send function. And if this send is successful, we'll be showing a success message. So you can see that the send function will return true or false. So we can use an if condition here. If mail of send, if the send is successful, we can return something like success. So echo success. So we are using all the letters in small letters. Okay. And then on the else part, echo failed. And you can remove this message from here. Okay. If the message is sent successfully, we are going to show success. And if it is failing, we are going to show failed. And inside the exception also, we can show failed message. So let's type failed. So here, this is the complete code. You can see on this if condition, we are checking if the to address, message and the subject is present or not. And then we are assigning it to the variables. And then we are creating an object for the PHP Mailer. And then we are specifying the credentials for our SMTP server. And you can see that the username, password, and the port, and the host name. And after that, we are specifying the from address and the to address. Then we are giving the subject and the message. That's all. And if the send is successful, we are going to show success, otherwise failed. And that's all with the API part. Now you can move to the Android part. On the Android part, we have to go to the resources, layout, activity main.xml file, and go to the split mode. And here we have to design the layout part. So let's change the parent layout to linear layout. Let's set an orientation to vertical. Now we have to remove this text view from here, and let's create an edit text. Let's give an ID for the edit text. So ID, and the edit text will be for to address. So to email. And we can give an hint. So hint and to email. Okay. And we can give a gravity to sender on the parent layout. Gravity sender. Okay. And we can also give a padding. So padding 20 dp. Okay. And that's enough. And the next edit text is for the message and one for the subject. So edit text. And this one will be for the subject. So let's give an ID subject. And you can see the width is warp content and the height is match parent. So we have to change it. So the width is match parent and height is warp content. Okay, and the next one is for the message. Give an ID message. And we need one button that is for submitting. So button, warp content and warp content. Give an ID send email. And we can give a text for the button. And that's it. So now we are having a button and we are having a message edit text and a subject edit text and also one edit text for the to email address. And that's all with the layout part. So we'll be entering the to email, subject and the message. So let's give a hint for the subject and the message option as well. So that's all with the layout part. Now we can go to the main activity Java file, and here we have to create an object for the edit text and the button. Now come inside the onCreate and initialize the objects. So here you can see that I have initialized the objects with the correct ID. So you have to make sure the IDs are correct. So if you are having any doubt, go to the XML part and verify the ID. Okay. So you have to use the correct ID for the correct object. And after that, we can create an on-click listener for the button. Set on-click listener, new on-click listener. So now the button is having an on-click listener. Inside the on-click, we have to make an HTTP request. So for that, we will be using a library called Volley. So in order to add Volley to our project, you can come to this URL. I'll give the link on the description as well. So simply open this URL and scroll down. And you can see we are also having a complete video. So you can watch that also. And you have to simply copy this dependency from here and go to the Gradle scripts, build.gradle, the second one, and the dependency option here. Paste it here and click on sync now. After synchronizing, you can go to the manifest folder here, and we have to add a permission for the internet. Users permission internet. And that's all. So simply add a permission for the internet on the manifest file. And inside this application tag, we can add an option users clear text traffic and set it to true. Now this will enable HTTP request. Otherwise you have to use HTTPS. And if you use HTTP, you will not get the result. It will show error. Okay. So simply add this line. And you can also add hardware accelerated to true. Okay. And that's all. Now go back to the main activity Java file. And here we have to make a post request to the URL. So let's copy the code for making a post request in Volley. So open the article and scroll down. And here you can see we'll be having an option to make a post request. See, create a post request. And this is the code for that. You can simply copy that. Copy this much. We are already having a video explaining everything in detail. So you can watch that on our channel. So copy the code and we can paste it here. Okay, you can see everything in red. So click on the class name and type alt enter import class. So import all the classes. So you can see we have imported all the classes. So this is the code that we copied, this much. Okay. Okay. So this is the code. And now we can remove this text view from here because we are not having a text view. So remove that. And inside the on response, we'll be receiving the response from the API part. So here we can check if response dot equals success. So you remember that we are echoing a success message if the email is sent successfully. Okay. So that's what we are checking here. If response is equal to success, we can make a toast message for now. So toast dot make text. Okay. And pass the context, then the message. We can show something like email sent successfully. And then the toast length and dot show. Okay. Hope you know how to make a toast message. Okay. And on the else part, we can show a toast message saying failed to send email. So let's copy this and else email send failed. Okay. And that's all. And if you want to show an error message on the on error response function, you can simply copy the toast message and paste it here. And we can use this error variable. So let's change this message to error dot get localized message. Okay. Now this will show a error message from the Volley. Okay. Now that's done. Now we have to change the API URL. So you can see that here. Okay. You have to change this URL. And you can see an error here. Okay. This is the context part. So change this to get application context. And that's all. Now we have to change this API URL. So I have hosted this inside our localhost SAMP. So let's open the SAMP. So I have opened the SAMP. Let's start the Apache. And that's all. So we simply need to start the Apache. And now we need to get the URL. So for that, let's open the command prompt. And we can type ipconfig. Hit enter. And you can see on the bottom, we are having IPv4 address. Okay. You have to copy this. So copy the address and let's go to the Android part. Now you can change this URL from here. So change the URL to http colon slash slash, then give the IP address that we copied slash, then you have to go to the project, the PHP part. So if you go to the project, you can see the project is inside samp slash htdocs slash sent email Android. So if you know SAMP, you can understand that you have to call send email Android after the IP address. Okay, so let's copy the folder name and we can paste it here. So we are having the IP address slash the folder name, and we can also specify the file name like slash index.php, but that is not required because index.php will be loaded automatically when we specify the folder name itself. Okay, so let's specify the file name also for now, and we can try opening this URL inside a browser. So let's click on the control and use a mouse to click on the link. So you can see that the URL has opened. Since we are not passing anything, it is showing a blank page. Okay, so you have to make sure the URL is working. Okay, let's go to the Android part. So here you have to note that the IP address, that is the local IP address, will keep changing. Okay, if you change the Wi-Fi connection or maybe do turn off the Wi-Fi, etc., you will get another IP address. Okay, so you have to check the IP config every time when you run this application. Okay, now we are making a post request to this URL. We have to pass the to email, message and the subject. So for that, inside the button on click listener, inside the on click function, come here and let's create a string for to email, subject and the message. Now we have to fetch the data from the edit text. So for that, to email equal to edit text to email dot get text, and convert it to string using toString, and that's all. Now you will get the email from the edit text, and do the same for the message and the subject as well. So here you can see that the to email address is being fetched from the object edit text to email and the subject and the message. So hope you understand this. Now if you want to check if the to email subject or the message is entered by the user or not, you can use an if condition. If to email dot equals empty, and you can use something, and subject dot equals empty, and message dot equals empty. So now if these are empty, we can show a toast message. So let's make a toast message, and let's give a message something like enter the values first. And on the else part, we can execute everything else. Okay, so else, and you can go to the end, and it is here. Okay, after this, okay, close the else part. Okay, now hope you understand. Here we are checking if the email address, subject and the message are entered or not. If it is not entered, it will be empty. So we'll be showing a toast message, enter the values first. Okay, otherwise we'll be executing this. Okay, now we can pass the email, subject and the message. So for that, you have to come to this function, that is the get params, and change the param to underscore email. So if you don't remember what name to give, go to the PHP part and you can go to the top, and here you can see that we are receiving a post request and the field name is to email. Okay, so you have to use these names. Okay, to email, message, and the subject. Okay, and we can specify the email here. So to email. So just like this, we can pass the subject and the message. So you can see we are passing the to email, subject, and the message. So we'll be receiving that on the API part, and then we'll be sending the email. So now the coding part is complete, I guess. Now we can try running the application. Now you can see that the app has launched. We can try to enter the to email, subject, and the message. So let's enter the email. So we have entered the email address, and now let's enter the subject. And now we can enter the content. Okay, so you can see we have entered the subject, body, and the email. So we'll be sending an email to this email. Okay, support@codecc.com. So let's click on send email. So let's wait for it to complete. So you can see that the app has crashed. So it is saying that you must not use the toast message. You have to use a text or a view. So if you go to the line, you can see it is this one. Okay, so let's minimize this, and we have to change this toast message from the on error response, and we can do something like error dot print stack trace. Okay, now we can see the error message on the log. So that's all. Now let's try running it once more. Let's enter the details. So we have entered the details. Now let's click on send. Wait for it to complete. Now that showed an error, that is Volley timeout error. So we can fix that by adding more time to the request. So let's come here before the queue.add, hit enter. So you have to add this much. So you can see I have added string request dot set retry policy, new retry policy. Import the class here. So alt enter and import class. And inside that we are overriding the get current timeout, and we are returning this value. And for the get current retry count, we are returning this value. Okay, and we are also having this retry option, and that's all. So simply override these methods. So you simply have to add this much. So hope you understand. Pause the video and you can type it. So this variable name, you can get that variable name from here. Okay, this is the variable name. Okay, string request, and that's all. So this will solve that issue. Okay, so now the error on the Android part is done. So we are also having one more error, that is on the PHP part. So it is not an error, it was a feature. So we have to disable that. So here you can see on the PHP API part, so we have set the SMTP debug to debug server, and this will be printing all the server details. So that is causing an issue. So here we can set it to 0. And that's all. And after this, I have provided the SMTP details and the username, password, etc. So I have added that. I'll not be showing that. So let's go to the Android part. So that's all. So you simply have to set this to 0. Okay. And you can go back to the Android part. Now the errors are fixed. We can try running the application once more. So the app has launched. Let's enter the details. So we have entered the details. Now we can click on send email. So we can wait for it to complete. If you want to show a progress bar, you simply have to add a progress bar to the activity main part. So let's wait for the email send to complete, and I will show you how to add the progress bar. So you can see that the toast message appeared saying that the email was sent successfully. So that's all. Now the email was sent successfully. We can go to the email and check if the email arrived. So you can see this is the test subject and the test body. So the email arrived successfully. You can see the time 0 minutes ago. So that's it. The process was successful. And now I will show you how to add a progress bar. So let's minimize the emulator, and you can go to the activity main XML part. And here before the button, we can add a progress bar here. Okay. So simply add a progress bar. Give an ID for the progress bar. So set the visibility for the progress bar to gone. And that's all. If you want to give a padding, you can give a padding or a margin. Okay, let's give a margin. Okay, now we can go to the activity main Java part and create an object for the progress bar. Let's initialize the object. So come inside the on create progress bar equal to find view by ID r dot id dot and give the ID, that is progress. Now we have to set the visibility for the progress bar. So for that, you can come inside the on click function for the button, and here we can set the visibility to visible. So progress bar dot set visibility visible. Okay, so this is it. Now the progress bar will be visible. So on clicking the button, the progress bar will be visible. And for the if condition, we can set the visibility to false. So set the visibility to gone inside the if condition. Okay. And inside the else part, go inside the on response and then set the visibility to gone. Okay. So inside the on response, we are setting it to gone. And we also can set it to gone inside the on error response also. Okay. So hope you understand. We are setting the visibility to gone inside the on error response, on response, and also inside the if condition. Okay. And we are setting it to visible inside the on click method on the first line. Hope you understand. So that's all. So you can see this red line. You can simply ignore that. When you run the application, it will go away. So let's run this application. So you can see the app has launched. Now let's try clicking on the send email button. So you can see enter values first. Okay. So that is the if condition. Now we can try entering the value and try to send the email. So we have entered the values and click on the send. So you can see the progress bar is working. Okay. So the progress bar will be visible until the email is sent successfully. So let's wait for it to complete. So you can see the email was sent successfully and the progress bar is not visible anymore. So hope you understand how to send an email on Android using PHP API. If you are having any doubt, you can leave a comment below and I will respond to them. If you want to download the complete source code of this video or any videos that we do on this channel, you can simply come to this URL. I'll give the link for this on the description, and you can download any video source code from here. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more such videos.